Hi, I'm Kate Snow from Kate's Homeschool Math Help, and today I'm making a video on place value and how to teach it to your kindergartner or first grader, about kids who are about 5 or 6. And I got a question about this from a reader this week. She asked, any ideas or advice for teaching the concept of place value? My 6-year-old is great at addition and subtraction under 20, and he can count to 20, but he doesn't recognize that 15 equals 10 and 5. And this is a really common question I get. Place value is very difficult for young children. And so today I'm going to share with you a little bit about why it is so difficult and then how to overcome those difficulties. So first of all, I'm thinking about why it's so hard. There's really two different parts to place value that make it difficult. And the first is that place value is very abstract. When we're writing numbers, all of a sudden, where we write each digit matters. The 1 in 15 means something different than the 1 in 21. In 15, the 1 means 1/10. In 21, the 1 means just 1. And that's very weird for small children. When they interact with real things, they don't change meaning depending on where you put them. If you have a toy truck and you move it across the family room, it is still just one toy truck. Its value hasn't changed, its meaning hasn't changed. So there's that idea of abstraction, that a digit can stand for different things depending on where it is. And then second, there's the other difficulty for children is that the meaning of the different digits depends so much on their position. And position is very difficult for 5 and 6-year-olds. They're kind of lost in space. They don't know their left from their right. They write their B's and their D's backwards. When they go to write a 3, they often have to really stop and think about it a while or look at a model. They're still trying to work out where they are in space. And so the fact that suddenly we start moving things around and that a 1 and a 3 that means 13 is different from a 3 and a 1 that means 31 is really challenging for them. So abstraction and position are the two obstacles that we have to overcome to help young children understand place value. So as we think about this, about overcoming those obstacles, I just want to kind of back up a second and think about what we're trying to do. So we usually start with spoken words. They know the word 15. And then we want them to be able to connect to the spoken word 15 that they say when they're counting to the written numeral, a 1 and a 5, and then also to the quantity. And we want them to be able to go from any direction. So we might be able to want them to start with a quantity and be able to say the spoken word and write the written numeral. Or if they're given a written numeral, we want them to be able to go take the written numeral, show the quantity, and say the spoken word. And so there's all three of those things that are in play when we're teaching place value. So when we teach it, we want to start by making it concrete. First, we take the abstraction out of it. My reader says that her son can already count to 20, so that's a really good start. Because counting one by one helps kids, it just connects to what they already understand about numbers and quantity. That if you count out 15 of an object, that means if you get to number 15 at that last object, it means that there are 15 of those objects there. It also gets them familiar with the spoken words, so they can build on that understanding. Then once kids can say once they can count one by one and know the counting sequence, then it's time to spend some time with those concrete materials and spend some time organizing those concrete materials into groups of 10 and some more. One of my favorite ways to do this is with an egg carton. You can see that there. This is just a plain old egg carton, and I cut off 2 of the egg cups. And so this is a group of 10. And so at this point, we want to spend a lot of time with these materials and say, okay, I have 10 blocks here, and then I have 5 more blocks here. I don't know if you'll be able to see these, but I have 5 more blocks. So I have 10 in the egg carton, and we count on from there. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So 10 in the egg carton, 5 more in the hand is 15. 10 plus 5, 15. And at this stage, you really want your kids to encourage your kids to listen to how the word for the extras starts like the teen word. So 5 and 15 both start the same way. That's an important clue that they can hear to help them connect those. You can also use your fingers for this. Say you hold up 10 and have your child hold up 3 fingers. You can say, okay, I have 10, then we have 11, 12, 13. 10 and 3 is 13. Then you want to go the other direction. Say, okay, let's hold up 16 fingers. 16, how many will we need? And then with your child hold up 10 and then 6 more to have 16 fingers. So that starts to connect the quantities with the spoken words. Now we need to bring the written numeral into it. And here's where we come across this challenge of position. We need the numbers to be in the right position when they're written down. And so if we're going back to this chart here, so now we've talked about connected quantity and spoken words and done a lot of practice with that, but now we're going to bring in these written numerals. So to get started on written numerals, I'm going to start here with quantity, not the spoken word. The quantity will help us get to the written numerals first, and then we'll bring the spoken words back in. So the easiest way to do this is that kids need help knowing where to write those numbers. Otherwise, they'll always be doing reversals and not being sure what to do. And so this is just a really simple chart where we just write in the 10s go over here and the 1s go over here. And I think these are really nice to use with index cards because if you write the numbers on index cards, you can just put them in a certain spot on the place value chart. So for example, here if I want to say 15, I'd look at the quantity with actual concrete materials and say, okay, 15, that's our group of 10 and 5 more. So when I take my chart, I say, okay, well, how many 10s do I have? I have 1 10. And then how many extras do I have? How many just single ones all by themselves? I have 5. And so here's how I write 15, 1 10, and 5 1s. And when you have these on index cards, then you can do a lot of practice really fast because you can just swap the cards in and out and change them quickly. And so you want to spend quite a bit of time going from the quantity to this written numeral and also backwards to put a number on the chart and have your child show it with the hands-on materials. And then you can start bringing the spoken word in as your child gets used to translating between those quantities and this written number. And the other thing just to keep in mind as you teach your child place value is that it's a long process for a lot of kids. Because with the abstraction and the position, sometimes some brain development needs to happen before kids are really able to grasp place value. So if you find yourself teaching it and just feel like you're hitting a wall, it's okay to take a break from it. It's okay to, just maybe talk about place value once or twice a week for quite a while. It's okay. Your child might need a little bit more time, a little bit more growth before he or she will really be able to grasp it. So be easy on yourself. If your child is having trouble with it, it might just be because they're not quite ready, not because you're making any mistakes in your teaching. So I hope that this video helps you teach place value to your kids and helps you teach math with confidence. Happy math!